What would the feeling be like if it were true? If this very night you were already the man, already the woman you long to be, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would your friends look at you? And what words would they speak? Suspend your doubts for a moment and enter that state, for in that assumption lies the seed of your fulfilled desire. The world will always tell you to wait, to hope, to be realistic. But Scripture does not speak of hope, it speaks of faith. And faith, my friends, is assumption. It is the daring act of believing something is true, even when every sense in your body screams the opposite. Listen carefully to the words in the Gospel of Mark. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. It does not say believe you will receive them, somewhere in the distant future. It says believe you have received, right now, in this very moment. So what is faith? It is not waiting for evidence to show itself. Faith is clothing yourself inwardly with a state you desire until it feels natural. It is walking, speaking, and thinking as though the wish were already fulfilled. That inner certainty is the key that unlocks the promise. Now let me remind you, between the imaginal act and its fulfillment there is always an interval of time. Just as every seed has its season, so too does every assumption. A child requires 9 months. A seed in the ground waits for rain and sunlight, and even the smallest flower does not bloom the very day it is planted. The prophet spoke of this when he said, "The vision has its appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. If it be late, wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late." Do not doubt in the silence between your assumption and its appearance. That interval is not denial, it is gestation. What you have imagined in faith is alive, moving toward you, clothed in ways you cannot yet see. The danger comes when man, impatient for proof, digs up the seed with fear and contradiction. But if you will simply hold fast to the end, living as though it were already done, the day must come when the invisible becomes visible. I once knew a man who desired freedom from debt. Every night before he slept, he imagined holding in his hand a letter that read, "Paid in full." He did this not once, but night after night, until it felt natural. For weeks, nothing happened. But he did not abandon the state. And then, in a way he could never have devised, the debt was cleared, the letter arrived, and the outer world conformed to the imaginal act. So I say to you, do not abandon your assumption because of delay. Every vision has its appointed hour. The seed is already alive. Wait, and it must bear fruit. Now let us go deeper. Where does all this power reside? Not in some distant heaven, not in idols of wood or stone, but within you. The psalmist tells us of the false gods. They have eyes, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. These are the gods fashioned by men's hands, powerless and dead. The living God is not outside of you. The living God is your own wonderful human imagination. That is the eternal body of man. That is God himself. Everything you see in this world, every building, every invention, every fortune was first imagined. The chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the very device on which you hear my words, each existed first in imagination, before it was clothed in fact. So tonight, I want you to prove this for yourself. Close your eyes and imagine holding something simple, like a coin. Feel the weight of it in your palm. Now exchange it for a rose. Can you not detect the difference in texture, in fragrance? Then shift again. Imagine the handshake of a friend who congratulates you. Hear his voice saying, "Well done." Feel the warmth of his hand. If you can distinguish these imaginal acts, then you have touched the creative power of God. All things exist within imagination, and once you learn to move into the state desired, the outer world must follow. Now that you know imagination is the living God within you, let us apply it to your own desire. Take the thing your heart longs for most and condense it into a simple imaginal act. One short scene that implies your wish is already fulfilled. Do not complicate it. Do not beg. Simply accept it as though it were so. If it is marriage you seek, feel the ring upon your finger, or hear your loved one call you husband or wife. If it is wealth you desire, imagine counting the notes, or placing your signature on a check marked paid in full. If it is health, feel the ease of movement in a body that is whole. The scene must be natural, something that would follow the fulfillment, not the act itself. And most of all, accept in imagination the congratulations of your friends. See their faces, hear their voices, let them rejoice with you. Do not turn away. Do not duck the blessing. Receive it fully, for in accepting it inwardly, you set in motion the law of assumption. Practice this especially in the moments before sleep, when the mind is still and impressionable. Enter that drowsy state and live in the end until it feels natural. Then drop into sleep, clothed in your fulfilled desire. My friends, assumption is not idle fantasy. It is the very law of God. An assumption, though false at the moment, if you persist in it, will harden into fact. The world will call it coincidence, chance, or luck. But you will know it was the Word made flesh, the imaginal act clothed in reality. Do not live in the shadow of someday, live now in the end. Walk as though it were already accomplished. Speak as though it were true. Feel as though it were done. For in your Father's house are many mansions. Every state already exists, and you enter them not by effort, not by struggle, but by assumption. So tonight, dare to believe. Dare to assume the highest about yourself and those you love. For it is written, according to your faith be it unto you. Matthew 9:29. Live in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, and you will discover that your imagination is not a shadow of God. It is God Himself.